Yeah. So for the data input process into Money Guide for Miss Robin Ader. So first, I input all of her demographic info into the profile. When I first created the client, things of like her age, date, or not date, but age, like how much money she makes, things like that. And then for her assets to calculate her current net worth, so I could, create her current statement of position. I entered all of her assets actually into other assets. I chose not to count the 1 year CD as an investment asset, as after this year is going to be out. And I don't see that as a real, it doesn't have real like investment weight into it. Like I realize that it is an investment. However, in this consideration, I don't see her having that much money invested currently, which is going to be part of our plan that we're going to make as we give our recommendations. Following that, we input the mortgage, the car, everything else like that into it, along with her liabilities. And we find her current net worth to be $329,500. Of this, a lot of her assets are currently tied up. For like a large amount of her net worth makes up from the her mortgage equity. So as a recommendation, I believe it would be a good idea to actually take a loan against that so she can use some of that. Um, and we'll talk about that more as we get to her income statement. Um, yeah. So for the income statement, I input all these items into the budget feature of Money Guide Pro. Um, and so I've based on the expenses that were input, I believe there were a few that were missing as I didn't see any for car notes or credit card payments as well. So I believe a more accurate representation of her total yearly income would be more so 30,000. But even that puts her at a great position actually because she needs a new car, and in the following year she'll have 50,000 plus free cash flow coming from their CD once it expires. Um, and then plus with the recommendation that I think she should take an equity loan because she has room to be able to afford that. Just based on her current expenses, she has 30,000 extra that she can play with. So any extra additional payments on that loan, she would be able to afford, and the carryover and the investment value that she'd be able to generate off of that money would be well worth it for her future cash flow as she could increase that while keeping that great interest rate she has on her mortgage and while work without having to put extra work in at her job. So for the recommendation, I would recommend that she liquidate anywhere of 50 to 100,000 of the home. Addition, so that will give her around 180 ish free cash flow. With that, she can buy her car and set aside anything that she needs to keep up with that. Set aside the car payments as well as any expected maintenance fuel. Along with that, she could use that to pay off her credit card, as the interest rate on the home loan would be around 8% compared to the 29% that she would be paying on her current credit card debt. So it makes sense to pay that off. And then when she buys her new car, I would recommend, trading in so she can net 3,000 from that and pay off her current car loan as well. So that when she buys a new loan, she can either just pay a used car with cash. That's what I feel like would make the most sense. Just currently, she doesn't need a new car. It doesn't make sense. Just one that can get her what she needs. Along with that, she could either invest with this extra, 120,000 free cash flow. She could invest this, or she could put this into either properties of some sort, or she could use this to leverage, whether it's in the stock market and options, or she could use this just to lock up more CDs and get a stable interest rate. Whatever she chooses to do, it would allow her to get more cash flow out of this and grow her total net worth. I feel like at a faster rate, because in the current she has a good position. it would put her in a position to be able to pay off all her debts and just have debt where she can use that to leverage and get a higher rate of return on this money. And then additionally, once we've taken care of the need that she needs a new car, we can use some of this extra free cash flow that she'd be getting to either save for the boat or save for a vacation. I feel like that then we could have a conversation going forward about which one's more important, and which ones are realistic based on, what investment options we choose to go from there. Following that, we would sit down, have a conversation about, whether we want to invest in the stock market and go for returns, if she's more riskier or if she wants to be more conservative. We could you could really just put our money in more CDs that are getting, or other investment assets that'll help her ultimately reach her goals, while protecting her at the same time. Going forward from that, we would just stay in touch, check up, a once a month after things have kind of got situated and we've placed, done the initial rearranging of all the assets that we've chosen to, and paid off the balances. Once we've are in a good position, we could check up, maybe once a month and go forward from there. Additionally, we would also look at our future cash flows from the investments and make sure they're good decisions. And and then additionally, following this, if she puts her money into the right accounts that grow as she gets older, she's setting herself up easily for early retirement, and she doesn't have to change her working patterns really, as she could sustain herself currently, with her income and spending habits. As long as she keeps her spending within limits, even with the spending 2,000, 3,000 on clothing, she can afford it. It would set her up for a really easy, an early retirement, as it would be starting a large investment that she would have missed out on, as she didn't have any large investments to this date. We would follow up and stay in touch following that. Just, I guess in the future we would adjust if there's any changes to the plan. Thank you.